Hello, I hope you're well. Welcome or welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's reading vlog, which is all about me getting out of my reading slump. So it is currently August 1st. You will have seen my video on tips and tricks for getting out of reading slumps. My August TBR was geared towards me following my own advice so that I can get out of this awful place that us book lovers just despise. And like it feels like a good way to start the month, to really start fresh, clean slate and all of that. And you know, it's been a kind of bumpy 6-7 months. And as I said in that video where I talk about my tips and tricks, it's like part of getting out of a reading slump is understanding what has caused it. And I just had so much going on, so much taking up my mental and emotional like headspace and bandwidth that I couldn't really focus on reading because I was buying a house and I was moving into a house. And if anyone is interested in that journey of buying a house, especially in this like crazy COVID, not so post-COVID environment, like let me know, because that's a story for another video or vlog. But there was a lot of stress with that, and then I think there's always this like little part of yourself that doubts things, even when you've done all the numbers and the math and like you know it's the right decision. If it's a big change, you start like, like for me it was a case of 2 a.m. the day that I was supposed to close, I woke up and redid the numbers for the millionth time because I just had this like overwhelming sense of dread that maybe I couldn't afford the house and the upkeep of the house and all that stuff. So like there was a lot going on, but I definitely feel like I'm in a better place now, and like the stress of it, I think it just in general is getting better. Like even my skin looks and feels so much better, and I know like I've been doing more to it, like I've been making sure to do my masks, I've been taking my supplements, I have all my skincare stuff that I do, but like I was basically 6 months of just like stress acne, like basically here, and it really is clearing up nicely. Even my hair, like I was experiencing so much breakage and shedding, and now that I'm like taking care of that too, like I feel more me than I have in a really long time. I'm also getting into my own routine in my house. It's been exactly a month since I moved in. I have a few rooms painted. I'm actually sitting at my desk in the office, which is the sulking room pink, which looks, I love this color. I'm obsessed with it. But now it's like one of my projects is getting art and stuff on these walls, so that it starts to feel a little bit more like home and a little bit more inspiring when I'm sitting in here for 8-9 hours a day, 5 days a week. But I'm just genuinely feeling better. And with that in mind, I do feel like it's the right time to start trying to get back into reading. And so like first order of business was I DNF'd Vita Nostra, which was the July Found in Translation book. I've been trying to listen to that audiobook basically the entire month of July. It was always going to be kind of iffy with me because it is super speculative. And I managed to get through 50% of the audiobook, which is like an 18-hour audiobook. It is not short by any stretch of the imagination. But I just really wasn't enjoying it. I found it confusing as heck, which I had expected because that's kind of what people who've read it have told me. But also some of it just made me feel a little uncomfortable, and you'll probably have seen my like wrap-up video where I talk about that in more detail. but I was just not a fan. Like, not a fan at all. And I was just like, okay, Brittany, you're in a reading slump. Forcing yourself to read a book that you're not enjoying, that's as long as that one isn't gonna help matters. So I decided, like, you know what? It's a DNF for me. I can still participate in the live show with Noelle and Annie, but I just won't have read the full book. And that's fine, because they can talk spoilers, because I won't care about spoilers, because I have no desire to finish the book or to even touch the series, because I think it's a series. So I'm fine with them revealing things to me. It's okay. But I am reading Only When It's Us by Chloe Leese, which is a contemporary romance, and really enjoying that. It's I thought it was an enemies to lover, but I think it's more of a frenemies to lover situation. But the main, like, Willa is a soccer star in college, super driven to be a professional athlete. She is a bit rash and makes poor judgment calls and has a bit of a temper. And then there's Ryder, who is the love interest, who was an athlete like her. He played soccer too, but he contracted meningitis, which made him put all of that on pause, just because he's been dealing with hearing loss and kind of struggling with that. And for the most part, he communicates in, like, text messages. And I don't recall having ever read a book where you have a protagonist, like a main character, who is suffering from hearing loss or deafness. So that's an interesting facet of this book, but I also just feel like there is a lot of depth to the story already. And that's not necessarily to say that, like, romances can't have depth. But I do feel like the romance is obviously going to be the focus of this book, but these characters are also dealing with stuff in their own lives. Like, Willa's mother, I believe, has cancer, and she's also a mood. I love her. We need more scenes with her. And then you have, obviously, as I spoke about already, Ryder dealing with his hearing loss, and he is kind of like closed in on himself. Like, his circle of friends have gotten smaller. Like, he doesn't like wearing the hearing aid. His communication is almost entirely in these text conversations with people. So he's grappling with that as well. But it's been really fun. I'm about 14% into the audiobook, I want to say. And at this point, all you really have is that these two characters obviously think each other, like, they're attracted to one another. They, in their headspace, they talk about the attraction, but not a whole lot has happened as far as romance. But it's been good so far, so I'm looking forward to continuing that. It's also part of a series of romance books, so it's the Bergman brothers, and it's actually, I think, 5 brothers and 2 sisters, and kind of like the Talia Hibbert books, each book focuses on another sibling. And so you have this universe where all the other siblings are like supporting characters in each other's stories, and I'm kind of into it. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of fun. So as long as I enjoy this, which right now it seems super, super promising, I think that this is like a romance series that I will continue to pursue. So I should be working right now. It is 9:05. So depending on what I do today for work, I might get through a little bit more of it. But that's all to say, welcome to this vlog where I will be reading some of my August TBR, taking you around my day-to-day life, showing you little like things that I've done with the house so far, and just, yeah, we're just gonna go with it. Hello, I look like a tiger, but that's because the sun is coming through the blinds right now in my living room because it is west facing. Okay, this is a little bit better. So it is like 6:30 in the evening. I have just finished my work day, and so I am about to eat dinner, watch TV. I've been watching Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix, which is like a poor man's substitute for Anthony Bourdain. But I couldn't find any of Anthony Bourdain's shows like on another streaming service to watch, and that was what I was in the mood for. So I have a feeling that's what I'm gonna be watching. But I wanted to check in because I've listened to 38% of this Chloe Lease book, Only When It's Us, and I'm really, really enjoying it. The characters are now at the point where like the sexual tension is building. They've smooched sometimes, and it's just really fascinating to see the two of them dealing with their own individual like character development and how that is adding like complexity to their relationship. She has like some serious trust issues, and kind of, I feel like thinks the worst of people initially, and like Ryder just isn't that way and doesn't understand it. But like the two of them are super cute, and it's just been a lot of fun hearing more about being in his headspace and hearing more about like his hearing loss and being deaf is really interesting because like it really puts you in someone else's shoes with that, in that a case like he says point blank, you know, like hearing people think that you put in a hearing aid and magically you can hear all, and you don't understand that like they're really finicky and like they can sound tinny, like it's not a quick fix type of thing. And so it's interesting to be in his headspace and just to see the two of them getting to know each other better because they do have some fun banter. So this so far has been a good pick for someone who has been in a reading slump. And so I'm looking forward to listening to it a bit more tomorrow. Well, I have a lot of meetings tomorrow, including a 1.5 hour meeting in the morning. So I don't think I'll get through as much reading tomorrow as today, but I feel like I could easily finish this book by like Wednesday, Thursday, which would be magnificent because it's only August 1st. So there is that. But I did want to show you my food, which if I can manage it, I'll have to flip the camera, because it might not look super picture like Instagram worthy, but it's baby potatoes, asparagus, and then salmon slathered in tzatziki sauce, and it is the best thing for summer. So I will show you that. But I'm looking forward to eating that, to watching some TV, doing some reading, that sort of thing. But I probably won't check in again tonight, so I will see you tomorrow, perhaps. Okay, like I said, it is not super Instagram worthy, but it is so good, and it is like the perfect summer meal with the tzatziki. It's just super refreshing. I slightly overcooked the asparagus, but they still taste delicious. They were just like in olive oil and garlic, and the potatoes the same thing, basically some olive oil, garlic, and Parmesan, but delicious, my friends. A+++ in my book. Good morning. It is Tuesday, and we have some good news. Good news is that it's Tuesday, so we survived Monday, which is arguably the worst day of any week. The bad news is I have developed a sty. I don't know if I alluded to it yesterday at all, but basically at some point in the like early afternoon, I was noticing that this eye it was a little bit tender, and I had my contacts in, so I took them out promptly because I was like, maybe I pulled out an eyelash or like I irritated the contact somehow. I was hoping that was it. But then by evening, the contacts had been out forever. It was still sore. So I was like, uh-oh, and put over-the-counter ointment for styes on my eye. And this morning I woke up and it's not bad, but it's definitely swollen kind of in the corner of my eye, and it's tender when I blink. I wouldn't say it hurts, but it's tender. I did manage to find, however, my prescription ointment from the sty I had earlier in the year. So I've started to put that on my eye, and hopefully if I keep it clean, if I continue putting that on a few times a day, it will go away within a week. But it is not ideal, so I will potentially look a little bit like a cyclops in this vlog. But what can you do? That's life. But I did want to check in because it is morning. I didn't do any reading this morning because I was scouring my unpacked boxes to see if I could find this ointment. But I did have a mini haul from over the weekend when I was with my friend. She wanted to visit a town that's like an hour away from me. Actually, it's probably closer to my parents, because she's contemplating getting an apartment there. And there was a cute little bookstore. And so, obviously, it was really funny because we were walking on the main street and we were popping into the antique and thrift shop type stores. And I saw one across the street and I was like, oh, we should go there. And we had barely crossed the street and a truck moves out of the way and the bookstore is right next to it. And I was like, we're going in there, right? So we spent a little time. I think the place was called Transom Books, which I thought was super adorable. Very small shop, but minimalist, calming vibes the whole way. So I picked up a couple books. I picked up A Burning by Megha Majumdar, which is one of my book club books that I have to read this month. So I'm excited. I'm actually kind of shocked that it's not longer. It's under 300 pages. So this is the political thriller set in India, and I believe the main character is supposed to have been blamed for a terrorist attack. So I'm gonna read this. And then I picked up this book, which is called Folklorn by Angela Mi Young Her, which the cover is just super, super striking. I've never heard of the book before, but it was right up front. And apparently it's a book that is going to be filled with Korean myth. And the main character is a physicist. And it says that her mother warned her that the women of their line were doomed to repeat the narrative lives of ancestors from Korean myth and legend. So it sounds like it's gonna be kind of fascinating to me. Like I said, the cover is just absolutely striking. I think it's definitely going to be more contemporary with the myth stuff kind of thrown in. But the moment I saw it, I was just must have this book. And sorry, I keep looking down at the blurbs. So yeah, we'll report back on this one. It's a little bit longer than I want to try to read during this vlog or during my reading slump recovery month, but I feel like this is going to be something that I pick up relatively soon. And the next book wasn't a book club purchase. It was actually, I'm embarrassed to say this, my friend and I, we bought each other Christmas gifts, but because we don't go into the office, we rarely see each other. And every time we've seen each other, it's been for business trips and work events. And so we always forget to bring each other our Christmas gifts. I still haven't given her her Christmas gift because it's in a box somewhere in this house that I could not find. But she bought me Basic Witches when she was in Salem, Massachusetts last fall. I think she went in October, and we're contemplating maybe making a little trip in October because I've never been and I'm very curious. but it's about how to summon success, banish drama, and raise hell with your coven. And it's just ridiculous. It says tap into your inner sorceress and channel the dark arts with this magical lifestyle guide for everything from powering up your stylish talisman to banishing a terrible Tinder date. It's like ridiculous in just like this hilarious and perfect way. I do have another book that's kind of like this, which is all about like house rituals. But is it something I'm gonna read cover to cover? No, but I'm so excited to just like flip through this and just see what's there, because it is really fun. And thank you, Stephanie, for getting this for me, because like I would never pick this up for myself, and yet it's just so perfect. So that's my little book haul this morning. And now I don't even know what time it is. I don't think it's 7:30 yet. So I'm probably gonna sit, watch TV, or maybe even listen to more of this audiobook. I might listen to more of the audiobook, actually. I'm gonna try to take it a little bit easy on my eyes today, just because it's the first day of like a full-blown sty. So audiobook's probably the route to go, but I'm kind of thinking that I might be able to finish that book, if not today, then tomorrow, and start on something else. The plan had originally been to start on a physical book this morning, but I'm gonna hold off on that, give the ointment a little time to work, and we'll see. But yeah, that's it for now. I'm gonna go get myself ready for the day. I'm currently lying on my unmade bed, so I should go make that right now. Greetings from the floor of my office. It is Wednesday and it's like 5 p.m. I did not check in yesterday because my eye was in agony. Still have the sty, still looks super rough, but ointment is great. And seems to be working because it doesn't hurt really to blink anymore. But it's been a pretty quiet day here. But I did finish When It's Only Us, or whatever the title of that book is, because I can't remember the title. But it was fabulous. I feel like it was such a good book to read when trying to get out of a reading slump, because I rated it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's a frenemies to lover sort of thing. It's definitely a slow burn, but the characters are just so wonderful. And as I've spoken about, like actually seeing them going through like real life problems and like working through them individually, and then like that allowing them to actually be together is nice. But the chemistry between them is fabulous. I did see, because I instantly, like I wasn't even finished with this book, instantly put the second book on hold, but it's like roughly 7 weeks until I get it, which is a womp womp. I did see that the first book has actually been revised since it was first published, which I thought was interesting. So I listened to the revised one. Apparently the author ended up having a like authenticity reader read it to deal with how, I guess, losing hearing and deafness are depicted in the book to make it more realistic. I have no experience with that, but I do feel like it felt logical. It felt like sympathetic and compassionate, without being like saccharine or like not condescending. Why are words failing me today? It felt sympathetic without being trite or without like diminishing the struggle in any way, and I appreciated that. Also, I appreciate the fact that from what I was reading, Chloe Leese, her whole like ethos and reason for writing the series is to basically show that everyone deserves love. So while this book didn't necessarily have diversity really of like race or like sexuality, it approached ableism and that sort of diversity really well, because obviously you have Ryder who experienced deafness as a result of meningitis, and his father is a veteran who is an amputee. From what I saw from the rest of the books that have been published so far, you have different sort of disabilities and neurodiversity and things like that are being addressed within the main characters, which I really, really like. But it was generally just a like fun romance to read. I had a great time with it. Sorry, you're seeing the magic, the stuff that I film with. It was just delightful, and I'm looking forward to reading the second book. So Christine from over at the Roomies Digest, this was fab. The first 5-star book I've read in a long, long time. So really a nice way to start off August. I also did get Lessons in Chemistry. It came through yesterday on the Libby app, I want to say. So I've started listening to that now, which is the book that I've had multiple friends recommend to me. My friend Liz, Katie from over at Katie Reads and Rants, Gloria also said she really enjoyed it. So I have very, very high expectations for the book. I'm only like 4 or 5% in, so it's really early, but immediately the book is like addressing misogyny and sexism in like the 1950s and 1960s with the main character Elizabeth, who's a scientist, but definitely a trigger warning for sexual assault pretty early in the book. But so far we're having a successful reading month. I mean, it's August 3rd and I've already finished a book and started a second, considering that like the last couple of months, like I've been reading like maybe 2 books in a month, like where this is shaping up to be much, much better. But yeah, currently I'm just finishing up with work. And then I'm planning to really just relax this evening. Tomorrow's supposed to be a swelter. But tonight I'm gonna probably eat the last of my salmon, and then probably just watch TV, to be quite honest, and just hang out. But yeah, so I don't know if you'll see me again this evening, just because I don't know how much further in Lessons in Chemistry I will get, but the plan is to continue listening to that during work, and I might start one of my physical books. I'm kind of leaning towards starting The Pursuit of Love, the Nancy Mitford book. So maybe that's what I'll start tomorrow. And I also yesterday ordered the Violet book for Found in Translation, which is already shipped. So that should be here soonish for me to read. But let's keep this momentum going, and hopefully this eye will continue to heal. That's the plan. But I will check in with you guys when I check in with you guys. Hello! I have been a super bad vlogger this week. My apologies. It's just been ridiculously hot. And so I've just kind of vegetated, not to mention the sty, which is so much better. I'm still putting the ointment on it just to be on the safe side, but I think that it's cleared up. It is Saturday, so I don't know when was the last time I checked in, but today is kind of a life admin, house admin sort of day. I just got back from doing my weekly shop where I went to Target to pick up like paper towels and things like that, and then went to the supermarket, got stuff for the 2 meals that I'll be making this coming week. One is a a chickpea spaghetti with tomato saute, and the other is a like summer vegetable stir fry. But they last me like 3-4 meals a piece, so I'll have leftovers and then some. And right now I'm just taking a moment because I got this like pastry thing that was called a cherry stripe. So I'm gonna eat that, or at least part of it, and then start doing house stuff. I wanna put away the groceries, do a nice thorough clean of the kitchen. I have some, like I wanted to put frosted glaze on one of my windows in the kitchen and do little things like that. So there's a chance that I'll be listening to an audiobook while I do it. But there's also a chance that I will be listening to Beyonce's Renaissance. I will have to say the album is growing on me. I'm a huge Beyonce fan, but when I first listened to it, I was like, it's okay, like, it's fine. Like some of the beats, but now I'm kind of hooked. So there's a chance that I'll listen to that rather than an audiobook, but we'll see. The day is young. It's not even 10 a.m. So what else do we have going on? I have been listening to lessons in chemistry. As you might have seen with a clip, I did a reading sprint with Katie on Friday night where I listened to a little bit more of it. I'm about 25% into the book. I'm really enjoying it. I think the banter between Calvin and Elizabeth has been lovely. And I also just like that it keeps talking about women's role in society in the 1950s, which is where most of this first portion of the book takes place, where like she's struggled with like getting respect at work, even with sports. Like there's a whole thing about her getting onto a like crew team of 8 that's all men because that's not a thing. Just how people perceive her, how she perceives herself. There was a whole argument between her and Calvin about why she wouldn't change her name and why she doesn't want to marry because like men don't change their names when they marry, sort of thing. And it's just been really interesting. It's definitely very feminist, makes you think, but the characters are super enjoyable. I've just gotten to a part where something that I don't like just happened like in not too long ago, and it's slightly devastating, which is why I also am like, maybe I'll listen to Renaissance, because I like a book that'll like make me cry, which is what I'm anticipating in the next chapter or two. But I don't necessarily know if I want to be sobbing while I'm mopping my kitchen floor. So, not ideal. That's kind of where we are right now, though. Hopefully I'll do a little bit more reading today, and I will get to check in, because this vlog is meant to go up tomorrow. So, I don't know how much more reading I'll get done. But yes, that is where things stand currently. I definitely did not film an exit clip for this vlog, so I'm doing it now. It is 11:30 on Sunday. I'm like editing the vlog so that hopefully you guys can have it this afternoon. But there was no exit clip because I didn't read or listen to any audiobooks yesterday after I checked in. I instead listened to Renaissance twice while cleaning, and then watched somebody feed Phil while eating Jamaican beef patties, which was an A+++ choice, considering yesterday was Jamaica's 60th anniversary of its independence. So that was good. And then this morning I was editing this vlog, naturally, and also doing some writing, and then was dealing with the trauma of my washing machine yet again. It's been a struggle with that machine for various reasons, and it's finally working. And I think what ended up happening is that I had an unbalanced load because I put like a towel in there with just some t-shirts and some like shorts, and next thing I know there's just this loud thudding. It sounds horrifying. It sounds like someone is trying to like burst through a wall, and
yeah, it was traumatizing. And now it's working. I put on another load of laundry after that, and it seems to be fine. But I was dealing with that, so nothing to report. But considering that it is August 7th, I've finished one book. I am a part of the way through another book that I'm also enjoying. I'm planning to start a third book tomorrow. I do feel like the reading slump is starting to subside. I'm not gonna like go like full bore, but I do like I'm enjoying the books I'm reading. I'm excited to read them. So we're gonna just hopefully keep this momentum for the rest of the month, or at least try to. So that's we'll see how I do. But yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this very kind of erratic reading vlog. My apologies for that. And if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.